stopping the buck, setting a culture, putting the right guys in the right seats. Whatever you think NFL head coaches' jobs really are, the same thing's at stake for all of them. The hopes of an entire fan base. I got one question for each of them heading into the 2025 season, and the hopes of millions hang in the balance with the answers to these. 3 rules before we get into this. The questions that aren't allowed are as follows. Is this the year? Can your team stay healthy? Are you really that dude? Are you him? Second, I go division by division, no skips. Last rule, I can't spend more than 1 minute on each head coach. Got it? Let's start with my backyard. Jim Harbaugh, who's got it better than you? For real though, every preview you look at has the Chargers making a gigantic jump. I'm seeing some people call their shot on a Super Bowl run, and this is a team that didn't make it out of the wild card. I just wish there was a good quote from a wise philosopher for this situation. There we go. Sean Payton. Can somebody on this roster get 750 rushing yards this season? Last year, Bo Nix was 85 rushing yards away from leading the Broncos in rushing with 430. The best thing you can do for a young quarterback is get him to 2nd and 6. They've got to find a ball carrier they can go to consistently, and they're throwing 4 darts at the board this year. Audric Estime, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, and Jaleel McLaughlin. With the caliber of defense in Denver, if one of those 4 guys steps up, this team can actually start competing with playoff caliber team. Andy Reid, how much would it cost to get you in a punt, pass, and kick now? We've all seen the meme. What I want to know is after 7 consecutive AFC championships, 4 Super Bowls, and getting on pace to be the NFL's all-time wins leader before 2030, after all that, does Andy Reid still got that dog in him to get out there and compete in a punt, pass, and kick? Pete Carroll, what kind of 73-year-old are you? Listen, I'm a Pete Carroll guy. I chased his ghost to USC, but I'm getting to that age where I'm seeing some older folks in my life get to their 70s, and the variance in outcomes is wild. Some dudes are still hitting the weight room hard. Some are having trouble just getting to the bridge. I believe Pete is in the former. I think he can build something in Vegas. Coast to coast now. Sean McDermott. Does Patrick Mahomes get the Voldemort treatment in your house? For the last 5 years, Sean McDermott has put together incredible teams with Bills GM Brandon Beane. And in 4 of those 5 years, they've been beaten by one man. I'd outlaw saying his name at this point. In my household, Patrick Mahomes II would just be he who shall not be named. Mike McDaniel, can you stop getting cute with it? Every year, there's a story about the Dolphins that gets people all excited. They've got this formation where every single skill player runs a sub-4 40-yard dash. They hung 70 on the Broncos. They've installed this thing called cheat motion. It's always cute. It's not always effective. This year's my line in the sand, where I need to see stuff that works in January against good teams. Mike Vrabel, can you start getting cute with it? Feels like the Patriots are going to be tough. That's what you get with Vrabel as the head man. But he's a guy who typically runs conservative offensive schemes, and Drake May's 9 fumbles and 10 picks in 12 games last season are probably encouraging him to lean into that even more. The Patriots need Vrabel to fight that and take some more risks. Then some of their young skill position guys like Kyle Williams, Kayshon Boutte, and Travion Henderson need to get those risks to pay off. Otherwise, the Patriots offense is going to be the worst of both worlds. Not cute and not effective. Aaron Glenn, have you checked in where EA Sports has your guys this year? Still one of the wildest stories from last season. An NFL owner was allegedly pushing back on front office decisions because of discussions he and his teenage son had previously had about players' Madden ratings. I hope Aaron Glenn changes things around there. It's just tough to get over bad ownership. Now on to the division where none of their teams have ever hosted a Super Bowl, the AFC North. John Harbaugh, why does nobody ever bring you up as one of the greats? Andy Reid's over there making a run for the greatest coach of all time. In this division, the talk is mostly on Mike Tomlin never having a losing season. Even within his own family, John's brother gets most of the headlines. Meanwhile, he has been plugging along. Winningest Ravens coach of all time, Super Bowl champion, 6 AFC North titles. He can be a top 11 winningest coach of all time with 14 wins this season. He might be talked about like this in Baltimore, so forgive me, Ronnie, if that's the case. But nationally, we can put more respect on Harbaugh's name. Zach Taylor, do you have the most frustrating job in the NFL? The Bengals have an offense capable of winning the Super Bowl, but they have an owner who's out there haggling over rookie contracts and refusing to pay the best and most important player on their defense. Taylor was doubted when he was hired and has done nothing but excel. The ownership group needs to give him the tools to do his job or sell the team, plain and simple. Kevin Stefanski, what if you don't just have a Deshaun Watson problem? I don't think that's the case. I think this team will be trending up with one of the 2 rookies he's at the helm by the end of the year. But it is a scary thought and one I couldn't shake when it popped up. Mike Tomlin, does Aaron Rodgers want to win badly enough to play within structure? The Steelers are coming into the season with 3 good tight ends on the roster. Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Jonnu Smith. They could run 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends incredibly effectively in 2025. The problem with 13 personnel is a lot of runs, a lot of motions, and a lot of basic throws. Aaron Rodgers would prefer not to do those things. Let's get to Paul Wall's division. D'Amico Ryans, can you keep CJ Stroud upright? He got sacked 52 times, the second most in the league. I did a whole video on quarterback sophomore slumps. I'll put the vid in the description and tag it up above, but I think the way that CJ Stroud gets out of a sophomore slump, for anyone that calls it that, is by getting protected. D'Amico Ryans and his new offensive line coach, Cole Popovich, have to find a way to get this group to outperform these July projections I'm seeing. Shane Steichen, can we get Set the Flow in the stadium for a regular season game this year?
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
Liam Cohen, how do you turn names into production? If you could give me a delta on the number between how a team is projected and looks on paper in August and how they actually end up being by the end of the season, I would guarantee you the Jacksonville Jaguars would be at the top of the list. Their defensive line is the best example. Trayvon Walker, former #1 overall pick. Josh Hines-Allen, a first-team All-Pro. Eric Armstead, former first-rounder. Those dudes were 25th in pressure rate on plays without blitzing in 2024. Brian Callahan, was your play calling in 2024 what you wanted to do or what you were forced to do? I had the pleasure of calling Cam Ward games in his first year at Washington State. He's a guy I'm invested in. Back to pack, baby. The Titans roster, though, was dismal last year. That's why they had to take Cam #1 overall in April. I don't think this roster got better to the point where we should be talking about the wild card in 2025. But I want to know how the play calling will change with a completely revamped offensive line and a new guy under center. Shout out Will Levis. We'll always have the meme. I know they're more of a college thing, but I want to get a rivalry trophy going on in this division. I want McVay and Shanahan to play for the golden beard trimmer. Speaking of Sean McVay, can you get some fast guys to stop the run? The Rams need linebackers and guys in the secondary to make plays. It unlocks everything for them. If they stop the run, then they can let Jared Verse, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, and Braden Fisk loose. If those guys get to pin their ears back, they're going to get home. If they get home, then they get the ball back to McVay and Stafford. Kyle Shanahan, do you think you can win Coach of the Year this year? I do. This Niners team has the lowest expectations they've had since 2019. Debo, gone. Hargrave, gone. Greenlaw, gone. Ward, gone. These are the types of teams coaches win this award with. You've got to come out of nowhere. He's got the 17th best odds to win the award, so either I'm beating the Vegas guys with this take or I'm way off. What do you think? Jonathan Gannon.
Shots. Explosives.
Can you give that kind of speech to fire up the defense too? The Cardinals spent 6 of their 7 draft picks, including their first 5 on defensive players. Over 80% of their offseason spending was on the defensive side of the ball. That has to be a top 15 group with that kind of investment. Mike McDonald, can you let Clint go full on fullback? Seahawks only ran 16 plays with 2 backs in the backfield in 2024. Clint ran 21 and 22 personnel at the 3rd and 4th highest rate in the league last year. Since hiring Clint Kubiak to be OC, they've bumped Brady Russell to fullback this offseason and drafted a fullback. I want this to be ridiculous. I want the Hawks in 2 back groupings a third of the time. Get K9 going. I called a lot of Zach Charbonnet and Damian Martinez games. Get them going. Make Sam's job easy. All right, where they let you play your music real damn loud, heading south. Dave Canales, is Bryce Young a good story last year or just a good quarterback, period? Bryce Young got benched 2 games into his 2nd season in the league. His record, yards per attempt, and touchdown percentage were all bottom 5 in NFL history. Not league history. But he got back in when Andy Dalton had a car accident and finished the season with 10 total touchdowns and no turnovers in his final 3 games last season. We love to build a guy up, tear him down, and then build him back up again. Does Bryce's story just fit the narrative? Or is this the kind of story where a guy turns a rough start into an all-time career like a Josh Allen, Peyton Manning, or Troy Aikman? Raheem Morris, are those 2 first-round guys enough? The Falcons were one of the worst teams in the league at getting to the quarterback. They bet the farm and traded a 2026 first-round pick to get back into the first round of the draft in April to take James Pierce Jr. so he could join Jalen Walker in trying to fix that. Those guys will be enough to make them better, but I don't think they'll be enough to have it win them the division. Kellen Moore, could you have waited a year? There are guys that actually understand the salary cap, like Jason Fitzgerald at Over the Cap, so I'm not going to embarrass myself tossing out details I don't really understand. But I do know the Saints have been pushing money around for years now, and a lot of that punishment for making those moves is happening over the next 18 months. I know there are only 32 of these jobs, and if one of them opens, you take it. I just look at the OC job in Philly in 2025, and I'm way more excited about that than being in New Orleans paying the price for past regime's mistakes. Todd Bowles, when does being good get boring? This is a similar question I had for Baker Mayfield in my quarterbacks preview, but I just can't shake this thought when I think about the Bucs. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Levante David don't have many runs left. I want to see Baker reach the conference championship game, and that core is his best shot. Next, 3 of the 4 coaches in this division are top 10 in the league. The other coach was the guy every team with an opening this offseason was trying to hire. Wait, check that. The past 2 offseasons. It's the NFC North. Ben Johnson. Can 75% of your play calling brain be good enough? We always do this. We discount how hard it is for a coordinator to step up and be the CEO of a billion-dollar organization. Josh McDaniels, Nathaniel Hackett, Matt Patricia, all coordinators with a ton of hype that weren't the same guys when they got the head job. Ben Johnson isn't just in offensive meetings now. The dude's making every call. It's not 100% of his brain on just one side of the ball. So, is 75% good enough? Dan Campbell, how the do you not just live on the toilet? I'm working on a video right now where I try to mirror the Lions head coach's coffee order every day. It's 1,400 milligrams of caffeine. Honestly, the jitters aren't getting to me. It's the fact that I gotta hop on the toilet every hour. Matt LaFleur, why don't you just hire your brother? We all know NFL coaching is run on nepotism. It would be a good story, but it wouldn't be shocking if Matt hired his brother Mike. The Ryan brothers did it. The Stoops brothers did it. Mike has been at the helm of one of the best offenses in the league the last 2 seasons. I just think about me and my brothers. If we're in this world and we're all football guys, there's no way we're not putting each other on the staff to go chase a Lombardi together. Kevin O'Connell, what do you tell JJ McCarthy the expectations are? From the outside looking in, the Vikings roster can win the toughest division in the NFL with even slightly above average quarterback play. Every piece is in place. So it's all about making sure JJ doesn't feel the weight of that while making the most of the opportunity in 2025. The balance of that is fascinating to me. Now on to the only division in the league as far as TV networks are concerned, the NFC East. Jerry Jones, Brian Schottenheimer. Can you play CD Lamb in the slot now? In 2023, CD Lamb lined up in the slot for 55% of the snaps and finished with 1,749 yards. Teams were able to double cover CD all over the field in 2024, and defenses dared anyone else to make a play. He only lined up in the slot for 29% of the snaps and finished with 1,194 yards on the year. If George Pickens can be a dude on the outside lane, that will allow CD Lamb to line up in the slot where he can do the most damage. Nick Sirianni is the perfect storm brewing. Sirianni and Philly fans have had a tumultuous relationship, but winning patches over everything. In 2025, Philly's front office has continued to put on a masterclass, and this roster is one that can repeat. But what if they hit some road bumps? Shaky foundations, plus expectations not met. With any other team, this is a ridiculous hypothetical. It still is, but just a little less so in Philly. Dan Quinn, who's going to get to the quarterback? Listen, I like the Josh Connerly pick in the first round. I've been aware of this kid since high school. Fellow Seattle dude, and I'm all about investing and protecting the first round quarterback. I just made a video about an alternate universe where RG3 is a Hall of Famer, and that definitely reinforced that belief. That said, I would have loved for one of the Commanders' first 3 picks in the draft or one of their free agency priorities to be at edge rusher. Frankie Louvu's a stud, but planning on a weak side linebacker to get you 8 sacks again isn't a strategy I feel great about. Brian Dable, do you have enough time for this? Taking a quarterback in the first round usually means you're confident ownership will let you develop him. But if Russell Wilson can't get the ball downfield well enough, if you finish last in the division, if it's not just a Daniel Jones problem, does John Mara have enough patience to trust the process for another year? There you have it, all 32. Final thought, I want to break a game down so bad. Just get me to September. Get me to...